year anniversary of our building being closed because of COVID. And our theme for this month is commitment. So it seemed appropriate that we have a service on balancing commitment and doubt. Before we begin, mark this special announcement on your calendar, please. On Saturday, March 20th at 7:30 p.m. in our UUFA Zoom room, there will be a special family-friendly event, Zooming to the Future, a music evening with the David Slade Trio. David and his musician friends have generously offered to entertain us for an evening. And also, here's a little preview.
When I was a young boy, I thought I knew it all. I kept it in my billfold and I spent it at the mall. The old man said to me, son, if I knew now what I knew then, I'd have saved my pretty money so I could spend it all again. I wish he would have thought it through and said to me instead, don't listen to your wallet, boy, just replace the head.
So our thanks to David and the trio. They play all original music, and the evening will be a combination of recordings of the band playing, and David, I think, is going to do one or two solo pieces and share some narrative on what inspired his music. So please come to that family-friendly event on March 20th. We begin our service with the board welcome from Jaden Fuqua.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Jaden and I serve on your fellowship board of directors. I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors we have with us. Please stay on after the service for our virtual coffee hour, where you may introduce yourself if you're comfortable and join in our conversation. Your UUFA Board of Directors voted unanimously to extend the closure of our fellowship building indefinitely. The board will continue to have periodic check-ins and stay tuned to the recommendations of the UUA and community health experts. This shift allows us to develop further our engagement in a virtual space rather than remaining focused on a reopening timeline and procedures while our community is still at risk. We are committed to providing a safe environment for all those who call our fellowship home. While it's hard to be apart for so long, we are reminded each Sunday that the building may be closed, but the fellowship remains open. Please check the UUFA website for a complete schedule of various ways you can be connected throughout the week. Our newly formed board is gathering input on a few topics relating to the UUFA. We will be sending out a survey in the next week or so. Please watch your emails for a link to the survey so you can share your views on various topics important to the fellowship. We look forward to hearing from you. So on behalf of this caring, nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this sacred space. Here we invite you into an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connections, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jaden. Each week, we begin our service with the ringing of our chime 3 times. Once to wake the chime, once to open our minds, and once to open our hearts. And then the chalice lighting will be the words of Reverend Charlie Dietrich.
In the world of the driven, let us be drawn in. Let your love be a given, let us be drawn in. to imagine, to dream, to create, to redeem. For the sake of the living, let us be drawn in.
Again, we light a flame in times of ambiguity and hope, remembering troubles past and troubles shared. Now we light a chalice flame from here within our present lives. May this simple light shine upon our hearts, calming our persistent fears, steadying our tentative steps, that we may find the way forward within.
In the world of the driven, let us be drawn in. Let your love be a given, let us be drawn in. To imagine, to dream, to create, to redeem. For the sake of the living, let us be drawn in.
It's hard to believe it's been a year. This day marks many complex feelings of loss, grief, hope, anticipation, new ways of doing things. This is a special COVID-19 anniversary message from the UU Trauma Response Ministry.
March 14th will mark the anniversary of the Unitarian Universalist Association's recommendation that congregations stop meeting in person due to the pandemic. Your congregation, like others across the country, experienced a dramatic shift, a critical incident when COVID-19 shutdown took effect, changing everything about how we worship, learn, socialize, and show compassion for each other and for our communities.
On a personal level, the pandemic may have affected how you live, work, exercise, interact with family and friends, how you celebrate milestones, and even how you shop and access healthcare.
You may have experienced a range of reactions and feelings, including grief related to the changes and losses you and your congregation have experienced.
We are the Unitarian Universalist Trauma Response Ministry, a national organization of clergy and lay volunteers. We help ministers, boards, religious educators, and congregations when things become challenging or overwhelming. And we are here today to help begin to put this past year into perspective.
Unlike many critical incidents, such as an unexpected death or property damage, this pandemic has been unsettling, disruptive, and ongoing. For some people, especially those with marginalized identities, it may also have been traumatic.
Our hope is that you can appreciate the resilience and coping skills you have developed over your lifetime. It may also be helpful to know that critical events and their aftermath have a predictable trajectory.
You may remember the first pre-disaster phase when news came out about a mysterious virus. It seemed like a faraway problem there was no need to worry about, until one day it became clear that COVID-19 was really dangerous. You may have felt worried and confused about next steps.
Mid-March last year, the UUA advised congregations to end in-person worship and programming, and the impact of the pandemic became real. A critical incident occurred that required you, your family, and the congregation to focus on survival. You or others may have experienced stress responses such as irritability, sweating, confusion, trouble sleeping, and time distortion.
Then came a heroic phase when people sewed masks, delivered hand sanitizers and groceries, created social pods, started in-home schooling and Zoom worship, and rang bells to celebrate healthcare workers. It was a high energy period, but our bodies cannot sustain that level of effort.
The third phase was predictable, disillusionment. We took inventory of how this virus affected, sometimes killed, people we know and love. There has been such isolation, financial loss, and sadness to see people fight for resources. It wouldn't be surprising if people found Zoom worship and programming lacking, leading people to lash out at the minister, director of religious education, board, or musicians for not performing up to their expectations.
Many congregations and communities remain in the disillusionment phase. Frankly, it hurts. We all want things to be different. It's important to remember that many of us are experiencing compassion fatigue and burnout.
We urge you to hold on, have faith. A time will come when the pandemic will turn a corner. It will likely take many more months, but eventually it will be time to focus on a new beginning, a time of reconstruction.
You know how to work through change, loss, and grief. You have experienced shifts in your reality before, and you know deep down that someday this trying time will be a memory.
In the meantime, this anniversary may trigger emotional and physical responses. You may feel clumsy, or your thoughts may be muddled. You or others in your congregation may become intolerant or angry.
The coming of spring is a good time to reawaken a sense of compassion, to forgive each other, and to forgive ourselves. We can, as Reverend Robert Eller Isaacs says, begin again in love.
The UU Trauma Response Ministry is available to support your congregation if your minister or board deems it helpful. But we have faith that individually and collectively, you will make it through this pandemic. We encourage you to share our faith.
The Reverend Dan Schatz is a colleague who is a minister and a musician. And he, like many of us, found it hard to believe that we'd still be here in isolation after a year, getting through hardship and losses, and somehow managed to keep going. And last week, he wrote this song, Carry the Flame, and gave it as a gift to all congregations who wanted to share it. This is Carry the Flame.
You ever knew the only thing that you could do was carry the flame, spreading through the land. You held your spirit in your hands and carried the flame. When storms and sorrows gathered round, you raised your head and you stayed your ground. You carried the flame. Endless days of the hardest living, you kept on loving, kept on giving, you kept on and carried the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. Carry the flame. When the day is done at last, we take on the spark you've passed and carry the flame. Hand to hand we send it on, the kindling hope of a rising dawn in us all. Carry the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. We are nurses, doctors, teachers, we are children, parents, preachers, and we all we are scientists and cargo packers, farmers, singers, grocery stackers, young and old. We carry the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. Carry the flame. Let it glow. Carry the flame.
The March offertory recipient is the Creative Vision Human Development Institute. This Des Moines-based institute strives to break the chain of poverty and hopelessness within vulnerable communities by empowering them to become self-responsible and self-sufficient. They do this work through education and economic development, all at the individual, family, and community levels. Thank you for your generosity in supporting the work of this very important institution. At the end of the service, please go to the UUFA website to the Giving tab, and thank you for your generosity. Our time for all ages this morning is an adaptation of the story, The Star Thrower by Lauren Isley.
One day, a man was walking along the beach when he noticed a boy picking up starfish and throwing them into the ocean. Approaching the boy, he asked, "Excuse me, but what are you doing?" The boy replied, "Throwing starfish back into the ocean. The sun is rising and the tide is going out. If I don't throw them back, they'll die." The man laughed to himself and said, "But there's too many starfish on this beach. You can't possibly make a difference." After listening politely, the boy bent down, picked up another starfish and threw it into the ocean. Then turning to the man, he said, "I made a difference to that one."
Our reading this morning is going to be done by Jane Reynolds, who may be working to unmute. I know she's here.
Yes, thank you, Kent. Our
Okay.
reading is by Lisa Stroyan, A Poem for Dawn. I see you trying so hard, doubting yourself, stressed and tired yet, never giving up, one step at a time. Strength you don't know, giving and kind. I see it. I want to reach out, take away some pain, tell you I know, I do. It's gonna be hard. Loneliness and fear, I see that. Yet I know you'll get through. I know you can do this. Your love will suffice. I know hope. I know love and strength. I know you. Reject what's not true. Trust in what you know. Believe in yourself. I see you. You are fine, just as you are.
Each week, we take time in our service to pause and invite you to share a milestone, something significant that is happening in your life that is bringing you joy or challenge or gratitude. As I open the screen, you could indicate that you'd like to share a milestone. Raising your hand will see you, but we'll give each other space and continue to share milestones until everyone is done. This is our time of sharing.
I have one. We're marking a milestone today at our house. It is Dennis's 70th birthday that we're celebrating. And I wish him a very happy birthday and many more wonderful years together. Thank you. I'm done.
This is Bob Anders, and I'm filled with joy because on the 8th of March at 9:30 in the evening, my second grandchild was born in Minneapolis. He is very healthy and happy and home with his parents, my son Eddie and his dear wife Stephanie, and their first child, Hazel Jean, who is 2.5 years old. And this little boy has the distinction of having the name Crosby Bond Anders. Thank you.
This is Jane and Fred Valier. On this past Monday, our son Jeff donated 70% of his liver to his wife in a transplant hospital in Seoul, Korea. We don't know very much. We've had 2 short conversations that lasted less than 1 minute. We know that Jeff is okay and hopefully will be going home this next week. With Suyan, we don't know very much at all, except that she ran into severe complications during the removal of the old liver, and they thought they had lost her. But having the will to live that she has, and some of you have heard this story for a long time, and she hangs in there. Anyway, she has survived, and Jeff has been told that she is improving. He hasn't seen her, so we really know nothing about her condition at this point in time. Thank you.
This is Ken and Bernadette Siebert. And yesterday we celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. And we couldn't have a big celebration because of COVID, but the girls came with our grandson, and they put together a video that included 41 short videos of all of our friends and family who told us memories they had of us, and congratulations from them to us for our anniversary. They couldn't be here in person, but it was a very touching video. Thank you.
This is Tesha, and I have a milestone to share for us. Over this past month, Matt and I have received some unexpected financial abundance that has really blessed us during this challenging period, and we're extremely grateful for that additional financial gift that we weren't expecting.
I'm Sarah Carlson from your board of directors, and I want to update you on a couple of changes that happened this week. First, I want to announce that Jamila Johnson, our religious educator, gave notice that she's leaving the UUFA. She will be starting a new job as of March 15th, and her last day was Friday. We wish her well and want to acknowledge our gratitude for her leadership in the RE programs here at the UUFA. It is clear that the care and love she dedicated to our children and with our youth in their religious education, along with her depth of skill, made a positive impact on them. The RE committee is working to covering RE as it continues through May. We also learned suddenly this week that 2 board members, Angie Poole, our president, and Carol Spencer, our vice president, both needed to step down from the board. I want to express appreciation for Angie's and Carol's dedicated work and positive leadership to the organization. Their respective skills, knowledge, and personalities were an asset to the board. With that loss of leadership, the board met on Saturday to discuss a plan for moving forward. I was unanimously asked to serve as interim president, and Mike Francom, member at large, agreed to step up as interim vice president through the remainder of this year so we can smoothly continue the work of the board. This is all recent news, and we will send out a notice congregation-wide of these changes this next week. Thank you.
This is Jane Reynolds, and I ask that you hold the doctor that I formerly worked with at Mercy One, Dr. Otto Schill, in your thoughts and prayers. A month ago, he was burned over 20% of his body, and I was in the burn unit in Iowa City. And since then, he has come home and he is improving. And fortunately, he did not have to have surgery. So that was very good news. So he's recovering at home with his family, and just asking for continued good thoughts that he improves quickly and can get back to his patients who are anxious to see him back and continue to care for them. So thank you. Thank you very much. I'm done.
This is Irv Kloss. About 15 years ago, I started what I hope to become a tradition in Ames. It's called Ames Reads Leopold. And some of you actually participated in some of those readings. What I tried to do was to get many people that were interested in Leopold to come and read from his Sand County Almanac. And we did that every year. I hosted it for 10 years. And then when I got cancer, I couldn't do it anymore. But somebody picked it up, and it's still going. And next Sunday, I think it is, the group will meet at Hayden Park and start, I think, with Ada Hayden's Rock, and then move to Elder Leopold Rock and read from his Sand County Almanac, and then they'll continue around the North Lake. So it's a short walk, and I hope you can come and do that. It'll be in the afternoon at 2 o'clock. Take about 2 hours, I think. I'm glad that the tradition continues.
If there are no additional milestones, we'll continue with our service. But as we go into our time of silence together, let us hold all those who have been impacted by COVID, those who have died, those who are left with an empty chair at the table, all those who are unable to see loved ones, and everyone who has been impacted by this pandemic. Let's hold them in our hearts, that the light may lift their spirits. We join together in a moment of silence, holding all those milestones, spoken and unspoken, and that whatever brought you here this spring morning, know that in this community, no one ever needs to make the journey alone, and you are loved. It is good to be together. I invite you into a moment of singing along with the UU Society of Laconia, New Hampshire Choir. Let's sing together, My Life Flows On, in endless song.
My life flows on in endless song, a prophet's lamentation. the real, the far off Him that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost love, or to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of the freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To praise the spell and dungeon while our thoughts together are waiting. When friends for shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
We offer two readings this morning, The Laughing Heart and Go All the Way, both written and read by the late Charles Bukowski.
Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission. Beyond the watch, there are ways out. There is a light somewhere. It may not be much light, but it beats the darkness. Beyond the watch, the gods will offer you chances. Know them. Take them. He can't beat death, but he can beat death in life, sometimes. And the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous. The gods wait to delight in you. If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
A year ago, when the UUA recommended that all congregations close until May 2021, I gasped. The next line in Susan Frederick Gray's message was, "Take a moment to breathe. I know this is significant." I was initially skeptical. How could this impact us for 14 months? I doubted the message of what might happen. With 2 days to prepare, I experienced significant doubts and fears about our ability to make the huge shift from in-person gatherings to all virtual fellowship life. The staff and board were committed. You, beloveds, were committed and continue to be committed and connected. Our mantra was and is, it's about connection, not perfection. Our doubts invited us to consider possibilities that we had never considered. Balanced with and driven by our commitment to have quality fellowship life during a pandemic, doubts guided us towards new paths, new ways, new connections, new technologies, and a learning curve the likes of which I never imagined. I want to share a doubt I experienced a year ago last week. I will mention no names. You will know who you are, and I am so impressed and proud of all of you. As we made our entry into Zoom life, all I could think of was this. There are a large number of members who struggle with a 4-digit password to sign into the website. How will they manage the multi-pop-up entry into Zoom and then navigate picture, sound, muting and unmuting while engaging each other online? You were and are amazing. It was almost a conversion experience for me. Yes, we have changed the way we offer programming, and this was not possible without significant challenges and adjustments you all had to make in order to participate in this community. We continue to evolve and adjust virtual life so that it can be more inclusive and available. Thank you for embracing your doubts and also embracing your commitment to change and grow and consistently show up. Thank you to Bradley for facilitating what might be the most significant adult religious education class in our 75-year history, Zoom 101. It continues as we go into our second year. Thank you to Jamila and the RE committee and teachers and childcare providers for offering special and personalized programs for the children and our incredible youth group. Thank you to the board for believing in us, even when we are not sure of ourselves. I wish I had read these words of existential psychologist Rollo May a year ago. He writes, "We are living at a time when one age is dying and a new age is not born yet. A choice confronts us. Shall we, as we feel our foundation shaking, withdraw in anxiety and panic? Frightened by the loss of our familiar mooring places, shall we become paralyzed and cover our inaction with apathy? If we do these things, we will have surrendered our chance to participate in the forming of the future. Or shall we seize the courage necessary to preserve our sensitivity, awareness, and responsibility in the face of radical change. We are called to do something new, to push into a forest where there are no well-worn paths from which no one has returned to guide us. Are you familiar with the philosopher Alan Watts? A few phrases can give some basic context to his spiritual observations. Faith as openness, trusting the unknown, going beyond, living into questions. When it comes to doubt, he writes, there is a contradiction in wanting to be perfectly secure in the universe, whose very nature is momentariness and fluidity. His philosophy aligns with that of Rollo May and invites us to find security in our insecurity, to be creative and inventive at the edge of the cliff of liminal space. That space between the known and the unknown offers doubt, but also the incredible feelings and inspirations that accompany commitment intertwined with doubt, co-conspirators in discovering new ways of doing and being. Come back with me to the year 1609. I don't think there's anyone here who remembers that year. I don't. But 1609. Let's go. We're going to go way back. So imagine Rollo May, Alan Watts, and Shakespeare sitting together in a tavern, quaffing ales and pondering the paradigm shifts that will occur during the next 300 years. Shakespeare breaks the silence, saying, "Modest doubt is called the beacon of the wise." Gasps fill the air, followed by guffaws and magnificent pontificating voices, overlapping when Charles Bukowski strolls in to join them and says, "Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous. The gods wait to delight in you." They sit in silence, look at each other with wonder, appreciation, fear, and doubt. Doubt in combination and conversation with our convictions can help us navigate our journeys through fear to greater trust, to a greater us. And Alan Watts would note, it aligns more adaptively with the flux and flow of reality. So it turns out that the relationship between commitment and doubt is not antagonistic. In fact, Rollo May insists commitment is healthiest when it is not without doubt, but in spite of doubt. To believe fully and at the same moment to have doubt is not at all a contradiction. It presupposes a greater respect for the truth, an awareness that truth always goes beyond anything that can be said or done at any given moment. To every thesis, there is an antithesis, and to this, there is synthesis. Truth is thus a never-dying process. Our truths continue to evolve in our commitments to eradicate racism and white supremacy culture in Unitarian Universalism, in our religious education programming here at UUFA, in our leadership, and in our journey to safely regather in person in Fellowship Hall while sustaining virtual sacred space. Because we are committed to each other, and we are committed to this community that we love, we learn to sit with our doubts and fears and imagine yet new ways of being together. The flux and flow of reality. Take a moment to breathe. I know this is significant. Every day, we find ourselves on a metaphorical ocean beach, the sands forever shifting and changing with the tides. We pause to look in wonder at the interconnected web and mystery of life and throw a starfish, one of many, to the sustaining and life-giving waters. We might wonder or even doubt that one toss, one change can make a difference. Know in your heart, in your intellect, and in your doing that every commitment made in the face of doubt or fear offers the possibility of a better life. I know hope. I know love and strength. I know you. Believe in yourself. I see you. If you're going to try, go all the way. There's no other feeling like it. It's the only good fight there is. Do it. Do it. Amen. And blessed be. Our closing piece of music today is a special gift from Nemo Patel and Empty Hands Music. The title is Keep Loving, a Universal Love Song, and it really sings to the universalist side of our faith. I hope you enjoy it.
Whether you're different, same ignorant or intelligent, whether you tell the truth, lie or embellish it, whether you live in gratitude or for the hell of it, it doesn't really matter, it's still one single fellowship. Whether you've been lustful or living celibate, whether you're an optimist or only see the negative, whether you're dead broke or rich from inheritance, doesn't really matter, we're made of the same sediment. Whether you got a family or single parenting, or you're Asian, African, European or American, whether you pray to God or atheist is irrelevant, cause what you got inside is the same, it's all your preference. Troubled and the homeless, can you say everywhere you are is where your home is? Sharing your heart in the dark just like a lotus, letting your light shine bright so you can flow there. Everlasting love of grace like those did Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna, Buddha, and Moses, who carried the weight of the world upon their shoulders. So every time you fall down, go ahead and hold this close to your heart, cause you're a love soldier, and every time you get a chance you pay it forward. Moving closer to heaven's gates, we're all soaring. Because of you, love is where we're headed towards. So keep keep the light on through dark and despair. Gotta spread the love where nobody cares. Gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair. So keep loving. It'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you'll start to change. So keep loving. Everything you touch, everyone you see will soon become your family. So keep loving, gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair, gotta spread the love where nobody cares. Gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair. So keep loving, it'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you'll start to change. So keep loving, everything you touch, everyone you see will soon become your friend. So keep loving.
Keep loving. As we extinguish the chalice, I share the words of Annie Forster. As far as our love flows, as far as our hope grows, as far as our yearning goes, we are no farther from one another. Blessings on your week. It's so good to have you here with us this morning.